So, hi everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Tali Moore, and I'm the head of marketing and net and partnerships. Sorry, at FUPA Systems Ltd. And today we'll be shortly discussing the evolution of tracking technologies for returnable packaging. So first, I would like you to answer just a very quick questionnaire that will probably pop up right now in front of you. It's just 2 questions, and if you can answer it, that would be great. So I'll give you a few seconds to do that before we end it. Okay, I'll give you just a few more seconds to complete this. Okay, so let's end the quiz and continue. So, as I said, we're going to talk about tracking technologies for reusable assets today, reusable packaging. And before we're going to try and talk about which best tracking technology is for you, it's really important to understand that there is no one best tracking technology that fits all. So before we try and understand how are we going to track, it's really important to understand and focus on what and why we want to track. There's a few factors that really define which tracking technology would best suit the use case. So this can be whether the asset is motorized or not motorized, whether you need real-time tracking or not, what is the value of the asset. So for instance, if we're looking at the truck in this slide, it's no problem tracking it with a GPS tracker device because first we need real-time tracking. And even if that device is costly and it costs $200 for a tracker and it's really high on power consumption for the truck, it's not a problem. There's a motor which can give it power. On the other hand, if we want to track the parcel that's on the left-hand side of the slide, then of course using a GPS tracker wouldn't make any sense because it would probably cost more of the value than the parcel itself or the package itself. So that's why it's really important to first see what and why we want to track. So let's continue and just get a brief overview of reusable packaging. So as you all know, initially packaging were made out of quite simple materials, mainly cardboard and wood, which were used usually just once. But over time, because of the availability of technology, because of more environmental awareness and wanting to produce less waste and higher volumes, higher value of assets that we want to protect, packaging kind of got more sophisticated with materials like plastic and metal, and in a way became the valuable assets themselves in addition to the products or the goods that they are protecting. And even though these packaging might be more cost upfront, for the long run, of course, for the proper use cases, they decrease costs. So let's give an example in the plastic versus wooden pallets. So in the beginning we had wooden pallets, but over time we see a shift towards plastic pallets. And again, even though their initial cost is higher, they have some significant benefits that over time make it financial beneficial. So the most important of them, I think, would be the lifespan. So the plastic pallets can last for several of years and 100 of cycles, while wooden pallets usually last for just a few trips or cycles. Another thing is they're much lighter, they're easily stackable, and they're much easily to clean and much more hygienic, which is important, of course, if you're delivering foods, pharmaceuticals, and so on. And now going to the overview of the supply chain and tracking technologies evolution, let's take a little glimpse on History Road. So we can see that the first wooden pallet was introduced to the market in 1939. Then the transmodal shipping containers were introduced in 1950. The first barcode was introduced in 1972 in a Marsh supermarket in Ohio. Now imagine that before we had barcodes, each cashier had to type in the product and the price into the cash register. So imagine how much time consuming it was. So of course, one of the benefits of using these technologies is eliminating this time. In 1980s, GPS entered the market. In 1989, Bluetooth. 1999, RFID was developed by MIT and some partners, mainly to track products in a database. In 2009 and 2010, Sigfox and LoRa entered the market, being the LPWA, low power, wide area technologies that really made a breakthrough in the Internet of Things, allowing much more products, much more assets to be connected, both because of the wide range and low costs. Today, there are over 1 million devices that are connected to the LoRa network. Oh, and I forgot to say, sorry, that of course, if you have any questions during the presentations, please feel free to type them in the chat and we'll answer them either during the presentation or at the end of it. Okay, so let's continue. Now, if we want to take a look at this in a bit of a higher level, we're talking about the evolution of traceability. So in the 70s, we had traceability 1.0, which really focused on product identification. That evolved into traceability 2.0, which focused on inventory and finished goods visibility. Then in the 2000s, traceability 3.0 kind of focused on materials and production units visibility. And today we're in traceability 4.0, that is a union of all of these in an aim to achieve complete visibility of the supply chain and maximize equipment efficiency. So that's where we are today. Now, when we're talking about the benefits of tracking reusable packaging, there are many benefits. The major ones are first, revealing bottlenecks and inefficiencies across your operations, optimizing utilization of your asset fleet. So it doesn't matter if you own trailers, pallets, or some sort of packaging. Usually the more cycles they're able to do, the more profit it means for the business. Another benefit is better troubleshooting. So tracking solutions enables identifying and solving troubles before they become urgent issues, which of course contributes to customer satisfaction and to better reputation of reliability and credibility. Additionally, these solutions help reduce costs through better utilization, through preventative action and database procurement decision. They decrease lost or misplaced assets. Of course, all of these increase control, both of the shipper and the receiver of the delivery process or the supply chain. It enables quality control of the goods through environmental monitoring. So whether it's temperature or humidity monitoring or impact monitoring, you can ensure that your products are delivered in the best way. You can ensure local regulatory compliance. This is extremely important if we're talking about medical devices, pharmaceuticals, vaccines, or even in some places, foods or perishable goods. And of course, all these improve the service level and customer satisfaction. Now let's drill down a bit into the various tracking technologies. So today there's various tracking technologies out there, and usually the tracking technologies all have their benefits and limitations. There's usually trade-offs, right? So if it's really accurate, it might be more power consuming and less and more costly. And I'm getting notes that I have little time, so I'll continue. The most common technologies used today in the supply chain are GPS and cellular, and or RFID and barcode. While RFID and barcode have the advantage of being very, very low cost, and their main limitation is they depend on human scanning, which might contribute to errors, and that they're very short range. GPS and cellular, on the other hand, while they're very appealing, they are very high cost still today. And another important benefit, of course, is that they're completely automated, but used only outdoors. I'm going now to introduce or present our solution that I think what's amazing is that it combines benefit of both technologies. So what we do in Hoopo, we track non-motorized assets that were not able to be tracked before, in order to analyze the position-based data that they generate to excel and improve our operations. Now, what's unique about our solution, and I think in a way it's the next step in the tracking technologies evolution, is that we moved from being technology-centered to being solution-centered. And we learned that the best way to do so is to combine a suite of low-power wide area technologies. So our solution combines LoRa, LTE Cat-M, Wi-Fi sniffing, low power GPS, and our trackers are operated by sophisticated algorithms that interoperate communication and connectivity technologies to ensure maximum or reliable connectivity and positioning while maintaining maximum power efficiency. Now, I'll give you an example. If we're tracking a pallet, for instance, while the pallet is in the warehouse, we will use LoRa both for connectivity and for positioning, as this is the most power efficient and low cost technology. Once the pallet exits the warehouse to the retails, our trackers will shift automatically to use cellular-based connectivity and Wi-Fi sniffing for positioning if we need real-time tracking. If we don't need real-time tracking, the trackers will log in all the data and will transmit it once it's back into a warehouse or the facilities where there is connectivity. Of course, when the pallets are on the truck and in transit, we can use cellular connectivity and low power GPS. So there's really all kinds of variations to provide continuous visibility. The technology highlights, as I said, is suite of low power wide area technologies that enable the battery to last between 2 to 5 years without replacement or recharging, according to the amount of transmissions. We can track both indoors and outdoors. You have configurable alerts according to your specific use case. We do over-the-air updates, and it's extremely cost-effective and affordable, unlike the regular GPS trackers. The user benefits is, of course, full visibility of assets on an interactive map that's available on a web-based application. Our dashboard, you can go to it through the computer or a mobile phone, of course. You optimize operations efficiency. You can configure the alerts to enable immediate curative action, enhance product quality by monitoring all these different variables. You eliminate paperwork and digitalize your operations for maximize efficiency and increase profits through acceleration of your operational processes. So I think I really ran through that. We are offering now a free demo kit so that you can really, through a 5-minute installation, attach our trackers and start gaining data and start gaining visibility into your operations or supply chain. So feel free to drop me an email if you are interested. And before we finish, as I see that we don't have much more time, I want to give you one more question to answer before we go to answering any questions in the chat. Sefi, can you please? Thank you. So just please enter your email below to get additional information about our solution. Because of time constrictions, I had to really run and do it quickly, but I'll be, of course, happy to give any more additional information. Yes, Alex, I see that you asked a question. We do use different technologies according to the lowest power and maximum um, um, connectivity that is there. So I see that we have 40 seconds. If anybody has any more questions, what I'll highlight is that, as I said, our solution is focused on non-motorized assets. That's kind of our sweet spot that we feel prior technologies couldn't really deliver a good enough solution. And so again, if you are companies that have in your operations non-motorized assets that you think would be beneficial to track, please feel free to contact us. You can also visit our website, and we'll be happy to offer you a tailor-made solution to answer best your needs. So thank you all.